Hi, ma'am. Hello? Hello? Can I start now?
Hi, sir. Yes, you can start.
Okay. Good afternoon, boys and girls. How are you? How was your day? Hope you are fine. Hope you are well and safe. Right. Today we'll carry on with our math class. So it's going to be a continuation of what we were doing yesterday. Remember yesterday we were on we were treating what is this? Linear literal equations, and then we went to quadratic equations. So yesterday we did quadratic equations, and today class is going to be a continuation of that. So today we'll be looking at simultaneous equations. We're looking at simultaneous equation. Before I continue, my name again is Jafaru Sado Abdullah, and my email address jafarusado@gmail.com. All right. So we're looking at simultaneous equation. All right. So at the end of our lesson today, we should be able to know how to solve simultaneous equations using the various methods. We have different ways of solving simultaneous equations. We have the substitution method, we have the elimination method, and also we have the graphical method as well. But today's lesson will be our focus will be how to solve simultaneous equation using substitution and using the elimination method. All right, guys. So at the end of the day, we should be able to solve any simultaneous equation given to us using these two methods. All right. Okay. Now, what is simultaneous equation? What do you mean simultaneous equation? Actually, the word simultaneous equation is an English. The word simultaneous actually is an English word. Simultaneous, meaning doing two things at the same time. Simultaneous. When you're doing something simultaneously. For example, you are texting and driving simultaneously. You are driving at the same time you are texting on your phone. Then we're saying you are doing the two activity simultaneously. So simultaneous equations, there are those pairs of equations that we solve at the same time, trying to find the values of the variables. So in simultaneous equation, we usually have variables, all right? We have variables, usually more than two. Usually we have two or more variables. Because we have two or more variables, then we must have the same number of equations. So you're saying solving simultaneous equation implies solving two or more equations at the same time. When we are solving two equations at the same time, then we say we are doing what? Simultaneous equation. So in simultaneous equation, we have two equations, or sometimes we have more than two equations. So whereby we need to solve those two equations at the same time. Before now, we have been familiar with equations with only one type of equation, whereby we need to find the value of x, or we find the value of y, or whatever it is. But in this case now, we'll be having two equations and then be having two variables as well. So we will be expected to solve for the two variables at the same time. So solving for two variables at the same time, we said it's called simultaneous equation. All right. Now we're saying the number of variables we are solving for in an equation must correspond to the number of equations. The number of variables we are solving for in an equation must correspond to the number of equations. So if we have to solve for two variables, for example, x and y, then you must have two equations. There must be you must have two equations. And then if you have three variables to solve for, sometimes you have three equations whereby you're going to have three variables. Maybe you're going to have to solve for A, B, and C in three given equations. So these are possible. We say we are doing that simultaneously. So we're solving the three variables when three equations is given. So this we do in simultaneous equation. All right, guys. Hope I'm not too fast. Please tell me if I'm too fast on the chat section. All right. On the next slide, we have method of solving simultaneous equation. How do we solve simultaneous equation? So to solve simultaneous equation, we say we have three methods. We have substitution method, we have the elimination method, and then we have the graphical method. So the graphical method implies the use of graph, whereby you need to plot the two equations you need to get two straight lines, two linear graphs, and then you get a point where the two graphs intersect. So that we'll not discuss for today. We'll be restricting ourselves to substitution and elimination method. All right, guys. So next, we'll be looking at examples now. So we're starting off with substitution method. How do we solve simultaneous equation using the substitution method? So using substitution method, we're going to look at an example here now. Example one, solve for x and y. Now we have two equations and you have two variables, x and y. So solve for the value, find the value of x and y in these two equations, right? So if you have to solve for x and y, for example, in these two equations, what do you do? The first thing to do is to label your equation. Label your equation so they can identify them, can refer to each equation. All right. So the first one we say x plus 2y equals to 5. Call that equation 1. Refer to that as equation 1. And then x minus y equals to 1. Refer to that as equation 2. Right. So now, because we are using substitution method, so what do we actually mean by substitution method? Because we have got two variables to solve for at the same time, so practically it won't be easy. So to make it easy is to get one of the variables, make it a subject of the formula, and then substitute the formula for the variable so that I can get rid of that variable in that equation. How do I mean? So I'm saying we have two equations, x plus 2y equals to 5. And then we have x minus y equals to 1. Right. So what we're saying is to solve this, we need to get one of the variables, either x or y, and make it a subject of the formula. Again, we need to get one of the variables, either x or y. You look properly, check nicely which one is easier for you. Before now, we looked at how to do subject of formula. So you look at your two variables, your x and y, which one is easier for you to make as subject of formula. So from this equation 1 and equation 2, we decide to use equation 2. Equation 2 seems simpler. So you simply say x minus y equals to 1, equals to minus 1. So we need to make x the subject of the formula, meaning we need to isolate x. We need to make x to stand alone. So to do that, what do? We transpose negative y, we transpose it to the right-hand side to become positive. And then we have x equals to y minus 1. So from equation 2, we make x the subject of the formula. Understand? We make x the subject of the formula from equation 2. So what do you mean? We try to isolate the x. We try to make the x to stand alone, to stand separate. So how do we do that? We only just transpose negative y to the other side to become positive y. So we have what? Y equals to positive y minus 1. You understand? So we can name that as equation 3. Right? So we have under equation 3. So after doing that, the next step is now to substitute your y minus 1 for your x. Because now we're saying x here. The x here is equal to, the x here is equals to y minus 1. So that means s is equals to y minus 1. That means x and y minus 1, they are equal. All right, they are equal. So that means we can substitute it. Because they are equal, we can exchange this. We can exchange them. All right. So because we have said x equals to y minus 1, how do we get y minus 1 again? We said we got that from our equation 2. We try to make the x the subject of the formula by moving the y to the other side to become positive y. So we are having s equals to y minus 1. So we are saying s equal y minus 1. So that means x and y minus 1, they are equal. So they can be substituted. You can substitute it for one another. So basically, we are saying we're going to say substitute. We're going to substitute y minus 1 for x in equation 1. You understand? Because we got equation 3 from equation 2. All right? Our equation 3 was gotten from equation 2. So because we got it from equation 2, so we're going to substitute that equation into 1 and not 2 again. All right? So again, we try to make x the formula from equation 2. After getting that, we now substitute it into equation 1. All right? So to go forward, we're saying equals to y minus 1, all right, equation 3. So we're going to say substitute y minus 1 for x in equation 1. We got this from 2. So now our x is, what is, we take out our x, y, all right? We take out our x and put the value of y minus 1. So this is our equation 1 here. So this is our x here. So what do? We get rid of it. We substitute it with what? Y minus 1. So by x, we have what? Y minus 1, all right? So y minus 1 plus what? 2y equals to 5. So with this now, we only have what here now? We only have y's. There is no more x. And then it's easier for us to solve now. So we are substituting just to get rid of that x from that equation, right? So we have y minus 1 plus 2y equals to 5. And then this one we can just solve now. We then open up the bracket. So we're going to have y minus 1 plus 2y equals to 5. And then we can now solve for our value of y. By collecting the like sums, y plus 2y gives us what? 3y. Then we can move the negative 1 to the other side to give us plus y, plus 1. We now have 5 plus 1, that'll give us 6. So now 3y equals to 6. Therefore, y is equals to 2. Like that, we get our y as 2, right? So we have been able to get our value of y as 2. So once we get our value of y as 2, we can then, to find our value of x, what we do, we substitute the 2 for y in any of those equations, maybe equation 1, equation 2, or equation 3. So once we get the value of our first variable, so to find the second variable x, we substitute that value, we substitute the 2 for y in any of the 3. You have to use equation 3 because it's already set to use. We already had it as x equals to y minus 1 because now we want to find x. We already had y. So it's easier to use equation 3, right? So using equation 3, then substitute 2. Even though we can use 1, we can also use equation 2, but equation 3 is easier because it's already been made the subject of the formula. So that just substitutes our value of 2 for y. So we're going to have x equals to 2 minus 1, so x equals to 1. So our x is 1 and our y is 2. So those are our values of x and y. And then to confirm our answer, we can check our answer if it's right by substituting it into our equations and see if it's correct. So we think our y is 2, our x is 1. So is that correct? Is that true? So let's see how true that is. If you say y is 2 and x is 1, so if x here is 1 and y here is 2, so 1 minus 2 gives us minus 1, which is correct. So let's see the other equation. If y is 2 and x is 1, so 2 times 2 is 4, 4 plus 1, 5. That means it's correct. Our left-hand side equals to our right-hand side. That means our value x equals to 1, y equals to 2 are both correct, all right? I hope you understand that. So next we go to the next example so that we better understand, all right? In the next example, example 2, it's saying, solve for x and y. Solve for x and y, right? From 3x plus y equals to 2, and then 6x minus y equals to 25. So these are two equations we need to solve, find the value of x and y. So how do we do that? The first thing, name your equation, label your equation. Call this one equation 1, call the other one equation 2. So what's the next step? The next step is to make one of the variable the subject of the formula. So the next step is making the one of the variable is subject of the formula. So look properly now. From which of the two equations can we use? Which one is simpler? Because in maths, we try to simplify our stuff. We don't want complicated stuff. We want simple stuff. So we try and look for the easier one, look for the easier way out. So now, which of the two equations is simple? The top one is easier. The 3x plus y equals to 2 is simpler. So let's make y the subject of the formula. Let's make y the subject of the formula. How do we do that? We try to move the 3x to the other side. We transpose the 3x to this side. All right, so then I'm going to have what? Y equals to, we'll have y equals to 2 minus 3x. All right, so the first step is label your equations as equation 1 and equation 2. And then the second step, make one of the variable the subject of the formula. And after doing that, substitute the formula for that variable. All right, substitute the formula for that variable. So now our y is equals to 2 minus 3x. So we're going to say substitute 2 minus 3x for y. In which equation? In equation 2. Why? Because we got this from equation 1. Our y equals to 2 minus 3 was gotten from equation 1. So we must put it back in equation 2. So basically substitute what? Substitute 2 minus 3x for y in equation 2. Right? So equation 2 says what? 6x minus y equals to 25. So we're saying wherever we have found y, we substitute, we take out y, and we put what? 2 minus 3x. That's what I mean by substitute 2 minus 3x for y. So go by equation 2 now. Equation 2 says 6x minus y. So where y is, we take it out and put what? 2 minus 3x. Then you open up your bracket. You have 6x. Then open your bracket. Minus times 2 gives you minus 2. Minus times negative 3x gives you positive 3x, which is equals to 25. Then we can now solve our equation now. So solving our equation, simplifying 6x plus 3x gives you 9x. And then move your negative 2, transpose it to the other side, become plus 2. You're going to have 9x equals to 27. And then x equals to 3. Right? X equals to 3. So our x is equals to 3. So once we get our x, then it's easy to find our y. To find our y, you're only going to substitute 3 for x in any of the 3 equations. Substitute 3 for x. So which equation can we use? The 3 is nice to use. Why? Because it has been made, we had x, we want to find y. So by the 3, we already have it set. Y is already equals to this. So you can just plug in, we can just substitute our value of x here, and then we can find our y. So substitute 3 for x in equation 3. All right? So substitute 3 for x in equation 3. So equation 3 says what? Y equals to 2 minus 3x. So our x is 3, so 3 times 3 is 9. 2 minus 9 is what? Negative 7. 2 minus 9 is negative 7. So negative 7 is our y. So basically our x is 3 and our y is negative 7. All right? All right. Hope you understand what I'm explaining. So that is substitution method. Right. So next slide, let's look at elimination method now. Elimination method. Right? The elimination method. So the elimination method is the second method of solving simultaneous equation we're going to look at this afternoon. All right. So now let's see how that works. What do you mean elimination method? For example, we have to solve for x and y in this pair of simultaneous equation. X plus 2y equals to 5. X minus y equals to minus 1. So solve for x and y. Find the value of x and y in these two equations. So the first step, label your equations. Label your equation 1, and this one equation 2. Call the first one equation 1, call the other one equation 2. All right. So because we are using elimination method, what do? We are eliminating. Remember, we have two variables to solve. You have two variables to find at the same time. You got x to find, you get y to find. So what do we do in elimination method? We try to eliminate x so that I can find y. Or we try to eliminate y so that I can find x. That's what we do in elimination method. Again, in the elimination method, try to eliminate one of the variables, and then we can find the second variable. So if you like can eliminate x, you can eliminate x if you like, and then that will enable you to find your y. Or if you like, can eliminate y, and then so that you can have your x left. So it's up to you. But we try to follow the easy way. Try to find the easier way. So look at these two equations now. X plus 2y equals to 5, and x minus y equals to minus 1. So which one is easier to eliminate? Which one is two variables is easier to eliminate? Looking at it, the values of x here is 1. What is the coefficient of x here is 1. The coefficient here is also 1. So they have the same coefficient. So then it's easier to eliminate them by what? By just subtracting them. Remember, elimination means what? To remove. When you eliminate something, you remove something. All right. So we're trying to remove one of the variable to get so that we can be able to find the other variable. But you must bear in mind that what the variable you want to eliminate must be of the same coefficient. They must be the same thing. They must be the same thing. Otherwise, you can't eliminate them. So to eliminate any variable, they must be the same thing. So looking at this now, we have x plus 2y equals to 5, x minus y equals to 1. We are saying to do elimination method, you need to eliminate either x or you eliminate either or y. So in this case now, it's easier to eliminate x because now the coefficient of x and x is the same. The coefficient of x is 1, the coefficient of x is also 1. So to eliminate them, to remove it, you can just going to subtract. You say subtract what? 2 from 1. You say what? Subtract equation 2 from 1. By subtracting them, because now they are the same thing, but subtract them, then they're going to be 0. X is gone, then we are left with y to solve. So don't forget again, whatever you want to eliminate must be of the same coefficient. If they are not of the same coefficient, then you must look for a way of making them the same coefficient so that you can be able to eliminate them. All right, but in our question now, the coefficients are the same. So we have x here, we have x here, just going to subtract. So basically going to say subtract equation 2 from equation 1. So x minus x give us 0. Then going to say 2y minus what? Y. 2y minus y. Again, x minus x is 0. The top x, we are subtracting equation 2 from equation 1. So x minus x 0, fine. That gives us what? 3y, right? And we say 5 minus 1, and that gives us what? 6. I hope you understand that. Again, x minus x gives you 0, so that means x has been eliminated. Then go to the y. 2y minus, and 2 minus will give us positive, right? 2 minus will give us positive. So 2y minus y give us 3y. 5 minus 1 will give us 6. So basically, you have 3y equals to 6. And therefore, if 3y equals to 6, then y equals to 6 divided by 3, and y will be equals to 2. All right. So our value of y is 2. Right? Our value of y is 2. So once we get our value of y as 2, then we cannot substitute it in either in any of this equation. Once we get our value of y, to find our value of x, we substitute the y, we substitute the 2 for the y. So when we substitute the 2 for the y, that means that we'll be left with what? X in the equation. And then we can be able to find the x. All right, so we want to find x, we're going to say substitute 2 for y in either of the two equations, 1 or 2. So which one is easier to use? The number 2 is easier. The number 2 is pretty easy. It's simpler compared to number 1. So then substitute y as 2 there. So where y put 2. Where y is, we put 2 equals to minus 1. and they can move the minus 2 over to become positive 2, and they can say x equals to minus 1 plus 2, that will give you plus 1. So our x is 1 and our y is 2. So that you can check by substituting the two values in the equation, and then you find that your left hand side will be equals to your right hand side, which tells you your answer are correct. Hope you understand what I'm trying to explain. Right? So let's see the other example. Right. Let's see another So still on elimination method, x and y in this pair of simultaneous equation, find the value of x and y. So it says 2x minus 3y equals to 10, 2. So find the value of x and y. Using what type? Using which method? The elimination method. Means you remove one of the variable so that you can find the other variable. You understand? So what the first step to do? We first of all label our equation. Call it equation 1. The first one, call it equation 1. The second one, call it equation 2. All right. So now, because we are using elimination method, we need to eliminate either x or y. So look now, which one is easier to eliminate? There is 2, there is 4, there is 3, there is 5. So you can see here now that the coefficients are not the same. The coefficients of x in both equations are not the same. The coefficients of y are also not the same. So, and we said before you can eliminate anything, they have to be the same. They have to be the same coefficient, so that by the time they are the same, when we subtract them, then it can give us 0. So before you can eliminate, they must be the same coefficient. They must be the same amount. So now, but now we have here we have 2x here, we have 4x here, we have 3y, we have 5y. So we need to now try to make either x or y the same. So it's easier, if you look at this 4 and 2 now, it's easier to multiply these two by 2. If you multiply these 2 by 2, then we're going to get what? 4. So we're going to have 4 here, and this already 4, and then we can easily minus them, and then we can get rid of the x. You understand? But if you choose to eliminate y, if you want to eliminate y, it's up to you, but you must make sure that your y's have the same coefficients. All right. So now, if you choose to eliminate y, what are you going to do? You're going to multiply this 3 by 5, so that I can get what? 15, and then you can multiply the 5 by 3, so that I can also have what? 15. You understand? So instead of working with y to get a bigger number, why don't we just multiply this 2 by 2, so that by the time this one is 2, by the time this is multiplied by 2, we're going to get 4, and you already had 4 yet. That's easier. That's a pretty easier way. So basically, to solve for this now, we try to make the coefficient the same. So by multiplying equation 1 by 2, so that these two, when these two multiplies what? These two going to have 4 here. So, but not only these two be multiplied, it will multiply cut across the equation. We're going to have 2 times 2x, that will give us 4x, 2 times minus 3y, that will give us minus 6y, and then 2 times 10, that will give us 20. Again, don't forget the 2 must multiply everything. Why do we need 2? Because here was 4. So that when you multiply the 2 with the 2, you can get 4. So that is why we needed what? 2. So, but the 2 will not only be multiplied by this only 2 alone, but multiply cut across the whole equation. It's going to say 2 times 2x, get 4x, 2 times minus 3y, minus 6y, 2 times 10 is 20. And then this one remain the way it is. The second equation remained the way it is, and then from there you can see that this here now cannot be able to eliminate now by subtracting these two, subtracting your 4x and 4x. So 4x minus 4x will give us what? Is 0. And then negative 6y minus positive 5y. Negative 6y minus positive 5y will give us what? Negative, that will give us negative what? 11y. Again, negative 6y minus positive 5y. Remember, positive times negative will give you negative. I'm saying that again, negative 6y minus positive 5y. So the minus times positive will give you negative. We're going to output negative 6y, then negative 5y, that give you negative 11y. So by y, I get 11y. I'm going to say what? 20 minus 42. 20 minus 42 give you negative 22. All right, so we're going to have negative 11 equals to negative 22. And then your y equals to, divide both sides by negative 11. Then we're going to have y equals to 2. Right, so y equals to 2. So once our y is 2, then we can find our x. So how do we find our x? You substitute the value 2 for your y in either of the equation, either equation 1 or equation 2. Yeah, is that okay now? So now, which one is easier to use? The top or the bottom one? The top one. The top one is easier. So substitute your value of 2 for your y in equation 2. So where you find y, put what? 2. Then we're going to have about 2x minus 3 bracket 2 equals to 10. So from there, you can find our x by moving. So 2 times negative 3 times 2 gives you negative 6. And then you move your negative 6 over. That will give you positive 6. And that will give you 16. 10 plus 6 is 16. And then you have 2x equals to 16. And x equals to 8. All right. So basically, our x is 2. Our x is 8 and our y is 2. So that's how we do elimination method using simultaneous equation. All right. So now I'm going to take you to the board to explain more other examples so that you can have more understanding of it, and then we then carry on the slide. All right. All right. Hope you can see my board. Can you see my board, guys? All right. So now let's see another example. Let's say we have, let's have, for example, 2x equals to 9 plus y. 2x equals to 9 plus y. I'm sure you can see my board. Let me see. Okay, what do you mean? What is the question, Sanele? What was the question? Sanele, you're asking a question. What is the question about? Let me go back to my screen. So what do you mean? Okay, let me explain this question again on the board. So let me explain that question again on the board. Maybe Sanele can understand. All right. So Sanele, I'm going to do that same question on the board. So please pay attention. So it's 2x plus 3y. 2x plus 3y is equals to 10. And then 4x plus 5y is equals to 42. All right. All right, guys. So let me share. Okay. All right, Sanele, I'm doing this again on the board, so please pay attention. I'm sure we can see my screen, right? All right. So we need to solve this. So we say the first thing to do is to name our equation. So we call this one equation 1, and then we call this one equation 2. All right. So now we're going to eliminate. The coefficients must be the same. There is 2, there is 4, there is 3, there is 5. So whatever you want to eliminate must be the same thing. So we're going to multiply this by what? By 2. All right. So they can add what? 4 here. So 2 times 2x gives you 4x. Now 4x. Then 2 times 3y gives you plus 6y. 2 times 10 gives you 20. All right. Are you following, guys? Are you following, guys? And then we're going to have 4x plus what? 5y equals to 42. All right. All right, guys. It is minus 3, not plus 3. Oh, it's minus 3, not plus 3. Oh, sorry about that. It's minus 3, not plus 3. Okay. Minus 3, not plus 3. So then we'll have what? Minus 6. Thank you. Thank you for the observation. Who is this? Tino. All right. So now 3, not plus 3. So now multiply y, multiply this by that to get 20. Then write this one as it is, 4x plus 5y equals to 42. All right. So what then do? We then subtract, we minus them. All right. We minus the two equations so that you can be able to get rid of this one. So 4x minus 4x will give us 0. So we can get what is 0 here. All right. And then you're going to say minus 6y minus 6y minus what? Plus 5y. So what would that be? Minus 6y minus 6y minus plus 5y. So minus times plus will be minus. So minus 6y minus 5y. And that's what? Minus 11y. All right. So if you subtract this one, so if you say 6y minus this y, that'll give you 11y. Negative 11y equals to 20 minus what? 42. What is 20 minus 42 is what? Negative 22. So therefore y equals to negative 22 over negative 11. All right, so this sketch out this, so y equals to 2. All right, get our y as 2 there. All right, so that's our y as 2. So to get our x, what do? You substitute. What do? We substitute. All right, we substitute what? The value of 2 for y in either of the two equations. So which one is easier? This is easier. So where y is, we put what? 2. We're going to have what? 2x. We're going to take here 2x minus 3 bracket what? 2. So instead of having our y here, we have it as 2 because now our y is 2. Then equals to 10. All right, and then you can find our x. So 2x now. This time this gives you negative 6 equals to 10. And then this you move to the other side. We have 2x equals to 16. All right, 2x equals to 16. All right, 2x equals to 16, and then s equals to 8. Right, so our x is 8, and then our y is what? 2. All right, so I can see other people chat. Okay, thank you. So you can carry on. Thank you for your chat. So it's making life easier, right? So let's see another example quickly. Our time is fast running. So let's see this one. So we have 2x. 2x equals to 9 plus y. And then x equals to 3y plus 12. So we need to solve for x and y here. We need to solve for x and y. 2x equals to 9 plus y. X equals to 3y plus 12. 3y plus 12. All right, so that is the question. So how do we solve this? First thing, we need to arrange it first. We need to first arrange it so that we have our x and our y. So let's rearrange. So we're going to say what? 2x, right? This y, we bring it in. Bring it in with what? Negative what? Y equals to what? 9. All right? You write it properly the way it used to be. Then our x, we have it with our x here. And then our 3y, we bring it over. Negative what? 3y. Why? Because it's positive here. When it comes there, it becomes negative. All right? It's equals to what? 12. All right? So let's call this one now equation 1. Let's call this equation 2. All right? So still substitution method. Okay, let's just do elimination method now. Let's solve this by elimination method. All right? So to solve this by elimination method, what do? We eliminate either x or y. So which one do you want to eliminate? It's up to you. Which one is easier for you to eliminate? Which one is easier for you to eliminate? So that is 2x, that is x. So again, when you need to eliminate, they must be the same quantity, or it be the same amount. So now, if I want to eliminate x, that means I must make sure that my x's are the same. If I want to eliminate y, I must make sure that my y's are the same. So it's up to me. So it's easier for me to make my x the same here. So let me say multiply this amount by 2 so that I can get 2x here. So these two, we type everything here. So give me, so I'm writing the first one here, 2x, then minus y equals to 9. All right. Then 2 times x, 2x here, minus what? 3y equals to 12. Oh, sorry. Minus these two, we times everything, minus what? 6y equals to 24. These two, we times across the whole of the equation. Now 2 times x, 2x, 2 times minus 3, minus 6y, and then 2 times 12 is what? 24. So now they are the same. Now I can eliminate now. I cannot eliminate my x because now they are the same thing. So how do I eliminate? I'll say subtract. I'll say 2x minus 2x, 0. 2x minus 2x, 0. Minus y minus 6y. Minus y minus 6y. What would that be? Minus y minus 6y. That would be what? Minus y plus what? 6y. And that would be what? 5y. All right, that would be 5y. That would be 5y. So basically, if I subtract, if I say minus y minus 6y, give me what? 5y. So I'm going to have 5y here. All right, this will give me 5y. And then we'll say 9 minus 24. What is 9 minus 24? That will give me what? 15. All right, that will be negative 15. 9 minus 24. You must be careful when you're subtracting. So you must be careful again. Minus 2x minus 2x, 0. Minus y minus 6y give you positive 5y. 9 minus 24 is minus 15. So you must be careful of this sign. So therefore, our y equals to what? Divisible side by 5, negative 3. So our y will be negative 3. And then to find our x, we cannot substitute into any of this equation. To find our x, substitute into any of those equations. So let's substitute into this equation here. Because why? It is set already. It has been set already. It's what? X equals to 3y plus 12. So to find x is easier. So you can just take it there and say x equals to 3 instead of y. Our y is what? Minus 3 now. Bracket minus 3 plus 12. Then x is equals to what? X is equals to, this time that gives you negative 9 plus 12. And x is equals to what? 4. X equals to what? 3 rather. X equals to positive 3. So basically our x is positive 3 and y is what? Negative 3. Do you understand? Do you understand? I hope you do understand that. So I hope we do understand that. So that is elimination method of doing a simultaneous equation. So that's how far we can go in today's lesson. So I've got some practice work for us to do. So let's go back to our slide. Let's go back to our slide now. So I've got some practice work for you to do. All right. So as practice, let's try to do this. All right. Let's try to work out this. Work to try. So practice question. Solve the pair of simultaneous equations using any method. Use any method you want to solve this. All right. So the first one, 1 equals to x plus y equals to 5. And then equation 2, x minus y equals to 3. And then we have 3 questions there. So let's see how we can solve it using any of the 2 methods, elimination or substitution method. So that is how far we're going to go today. So and then next class on our next lesson, we'll be looking at linear inequalities. We'll be looking at inequalities in our next class. So everyone is invited. Please make sure you attend so that we can all benefit. All right. So thank you for attending the class and enjoy the rest of your day.